family vacation coming up this summer, and one of the things, we got a bunch of little kids in our family now.
Uh-huh.
So one of the things that we're starting to strategize on are what are some ground rules, like what are some things that we may be able to put in place ahead of time that make it a little bit more peaceful for everybody, because being cramped up in that, it's a nice place, that we're staying at, but there's no place that's big enough for all these people and kids and we run around and screaming and fighting. And so we're trying to, one of the things that we talked about this week was you talking about these funny strategies that you try to implement, these parenting strategies, but that's what we're planning for with this summer vacation thing, is trying to, how do we do meal times to where it's not as hectic on everybody? How do we do the nighttime bedtime routines so that it's not so crazy for everybody and people are screaming and crying and fighting?
So is it your family, or is it you and extended family? Like your is it a whole bunch of people? Like who's?
It's me and all of the in-laws side of the family. Okay. So wife's brother, wife's sister, her family, the in-laws, that's the primary group.
So you want to talk about dad strategies that don't work?
Sure.
Great segue. And then you said something else that I want to jump back to here in a second. So you and I are both fathers of young children, and no matter all the books that have been written about parenting, it's still a wild card trying to figure it out. Nothing. If you read a book and implement it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work. And so, my oldest, who is 4, has been getting up early and staying up later. And so we said, okay, he's not really doing well with his naps, so let's just take out the nap. And you would assume that if he sleeps less, he'll go to bed earlier and sleep in longer. That's what I would assume for my own life, right? If I don't get enough rest, I'll go to bed earlier and I'll wake up later. So we removed the nap, and then so my son goes to bed even later and wakes up even earlier. And it's almost like this mystery of parenting. Like, what you logically think makes sense doesn't really work. It doesn't work. It may work in some instances, but in things like this, you're like, okay, A plus B equals C. You think it's going to work, and you do it, and it actually does the opposite. You have any examples that?
Yeah, so we had the same thing, but it works a little different. So Brandy will say, something about, I want to put Everett to bed. I'm like, baby, it's 6 o'clock. That's an exaggeration, but it's always early. She's like, I want to put Everett to bed early tonight or whatever. And I'm like, well, because he's waking up super early. Yeah. I mean, he woke up. I took a picture of it. He woke up at 2:30 and he was fully dressed.
2:30 a.m.
2:30 in the morning. Got fully dressed. Was ready to go to school. The whole 9 yards. I opened the door to his room. The lights are on. He's playing with trucks on the floor. He's fully dressed. I'm like, oh my goodness, but it's the middle of the night. You got to go back to bed. And then, so we bought this alarm clock that has a light.
Yes, we tried that too.
It has a light on it, and we're like, but don't get out of bed until until that light comes on. Don't get out of bed until that light comes on. And so I set the thing for 6:30 or whatever. Well, the other day he woke up, it was like 5:30, and I go into his room, and sure enough, the light is on, and the little clock light is on. And I asked him, I'm like, but did your light come on? He's like, Dad, it came on, but I think he turned it on.
Okay.
I think he went and pressed. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he went and pressed it on. I mean, sure enough, it was on, but I was like, okay, but you can't. I don't know if he turned it on or not. He didn't admit to it. I didn't grill him too hard, but I just told him, you got to, keep resting for a little while longer. But we've done the same thing of the later, we think like, okay, I would think let's keep him up later.
Yes.
Let's keep him up till 9.
Yeah.
9:30. But it almost works in opposite. If we keep him up 9:30, he's up that much earlier, and he's, he'll be cranky all day, more impulsive, I guess, during the day. But you would think that and I don't think that's going to be the case for forever, but for whatever it is, like with small kids, that is something that ours are doing the same thing. If we keep, the later we keep them up, it's like almost the earlier they rise.
Yeah.
So we've tried that.
Yeah, it's you know, I'm a morning person, but I've had to become a real early morning person because I want to get up and have some quiet time and go for a run. And it's almost this game I'm playing with my son where like I'll get up a little bit earlier and he's like meeting me there. Like he's getting closer and closer to my wake up time. And it's like, man, I'm not going to get up at 4:30 to go for a run. But it's almost like my hand is being forced to get up earlier and earlier. So sure enough, I mean, it's like 6:10. He's getting up. So it's all good. My wife is not a morning person. And so, you know, you would think my son's name is Shh, because she says it to him. 1,000 times a day. It's very funny.
What about your youngest? How old is the youngest?
She will be 1 on Friday.
So she's a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
What's her little sleep patterns?
Well, she's teething, and so everything is just miserable for her. Like eating is just miserable. So she's usually pretty good, but because she's teething, she's not eating as well, and so she's been waking up 2, 3, 4 in the morning to eat. And so that's been a challenge. She was my son's not a good eater. She's a great eater. She really slept through the night pretty quickly. But now we're seeing some challenges with her. But for the most part, she's been easy. But now that she's teething, it's been a little more difficult.
Anything else on funny dad strategies?
No, it's just. I mean, if anything, I enjoy you and I. You know, I feel like when you have a friend that's a dad, like you're in this like dad foxhole together. You can share like your war stories. We were all in the same boat. I mean, I remember, you know, so you have kids older than mine, and I remember you used to say, "Man, Ray, I'm just trying to make it to 8:30. If I can make it to 8:30, I mean that's a win for me and Brandy." And I'm like, man. Me as a dad, I want to be so engaged, and I'm going to just spend all this time with my kids.
A lot of judgment coming from you at that time.
And what you will find is people that don't have kids are very judgmental of the ones who do. So sure enough, I'm like, man, Charlie, you know, I'm going to be this engaged father. I mean, every waking moment I can, pour into their lives. Now here I am saying, dude, I'm just trying to make it to 8:30. I mean, 8:30 is my target. It's just very funny. I mean, you and I joke, but I even called you after I had kids and said, hey bro, I really am sorry for giving you advice. I really appreciate you being so graceful to me and not like saying anything back in return, at least to my face, because I really had no clue what I was talking about. So it's just been fun to really experience this part of life together, because you have provided wisdom, and if anything, just you laughing at me going through what you went through a couple years ago, and you're still going through it.
Sure.